Hello, welcome to Doozer shop. It's Christmas morning. We've got family stuff to do later, but I'm out in the shop here doing some cleaning on my cylindrical grinder, and I just want to make a video and talk about a few things. So let's I've got the grinder table hung up on my beam there over the parts washer, right? And I got the coolant, and I've been wire brushing some of the wire wheeling some of the goop off, and that's what I've been scraping off. And this is in the parts washer, and I'm not going to wash this down the drain. I'm going to suck it out the shop vac because it's all. This machine did a lot of rubber grinding, rubber rolls. But anyhow, so, my hands are dirty, whatever. So I'm going to set you up in the tripodular here. Right? Show you a little bit. Let me actually move you back. Get a little bit of the whole thing in the shot. This is a sketchy tripodular. All right. Kind of see. I'll move you up. Do that. We'll go up. All right. So, can I see? Yeah, you guys can see. So what I've been doing, other than using the air grinder, is cleaning the passages and cleaning the in-between, right? There's just gook and nasty gride, whatever. And scraping it all down. And I know I won't do it because it's loud, but I've been going. I gotta change to the cup wheel, but you get the idea. I mean, I'm cleaning and I'm scraping and I'm doing a dry cleaning, then I use the parts washer, right? I do a wet cleaning, and then I do a dry cleaning and a wet cleaning. And then I'll swivel to the back, and I'll scrape off I scraped this down already, but this is just cake and rubber grease, rubber gook. And I know no one wants to see this exactly. If I keep doing it, the air compressor will turn on and it'll ruin my video. But my point is this, right? I clean these machines, right, with the parts washer, the shop vac, a scraper. I'm scraping with a screwdriver. I got putty knife scrapers. I got all kinds of palette knives. And I might clean this thing, 5 or 6 times before I get down to a surface that I could wipe down with lacquer thinner and prep for paint. I can't see the camera. Okay. So that's what I do. And I get dirty, man, and my clothes get dirty, and I got oil stain on the shirt from, whatever, grease, oil. But eventually, to get paint ready, and you guys know this, what am I trying to say? To get paint ready, you're going to have to be like surgically clean almost, where you wipe it with lacquer thinner, you wipe it with alcohol, and nothing comes onto a white rag, a white paper towel. It's just clean, 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 clean. Now, I love my wife, absolutely, and she places a high priority on cleaning, and a lot of you guys, your wife is probably the same way, and you're gonna explain it away by saying it's a woman thing and da 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 da. Well, this clean thing, so clean and sanitary are two different things. Sanitary means you wash your hands and you take care of the germs when you use the bathroom or you sneeze. You take a shower, and I get that's sanitary. But clean, like there's no viruses or bacteria in grease, in machine oil. What is it? There's viruses, there's bacteria, there's microbes. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a biologist, but this stuff is grease. It's metal shavings. Here it's rubber shavings. And grease is oil. Grease is soap thickeners. Grease is I don't know, from soup to nuts, right? So, dirt, soil, clay from the earth, minerals. It's petroleum based. Mineral based. But it's not like decaying biomass. It's not decaying. It's not rotten fruit. It's not blood or boogers. It's not any of that. So my perspective of clean, like I don't mind wearing a dirty shirt, unless you don't do that to a business dinner or a professional setting, job interview, you visit a client. You don't do that. But for, I'd say 80% of what I do, having a shirt with a small stain, or it's not the end of the world. Really. It's perception, it's presentation, it's emotional management of other people's perception of when you interact with them. I get it. But I'm trying to say is what some people think is absolutely dirty, to me it doesn't bother me, because it's a percentage of the whole, right? It's a net percentage of, so I'm taking this machine from 100% filthy, gooky, dirty, neglected, used and put away, dirty, and I'm restoring it. I mean, if you wipe your machines off after you use them, they don't get like this. They really don't, but in my mind, I'm creating something better. I'm making something better than it was. So I don't mind putting in the effort and the sweat and the work. And if I get some of this stuff on me, I really don't mind it, because I'm accomplishing a goal. I'm making something better. I'm aiming up. I am adding value by making this thing more functional. Like, if you use this machine, this grinder, in its dirty condition, it's going to eat itself alive. It's going to scar the ways up. If you don't make sure that the oil system is functional, so it lubricates the ways. I mean, I showed you guys the oiler, the wells that roll on the ways to lubricate everything. If you don't clean all that and make sure the oil's fresh and clean, if you have grit in there, it's just going to destroy this machine. So I am doing so much good by cleaning this machine. And I'm not even talking about, you got to clean something even before you measure it, assess it, work on it, if you're going to restore it and scrape it or grind it, or you got to clean it. And this is poor housekeeping by the last owners, right? But I bought this machine cheap. I don't even know what I paid for it. I had probably $1,000 or less. I don't remember. But you buy these machines, and if you clean them and put them back in service, there's like the wear on this thing is so minimal. You might have 80 or 90% of its life left. If, and it's the big if, you clean the grit and the grime so it doesn't get caught in the slideways, and you make sure the oiling system works. The second part is crucial. The oiling system has to be clean and working to lubricate all this stuff. I don't know why they forget that. Maybe it's out of sight, out of mind. But back to clean. It doesn't bother me to be dirty because I know what it is. Like my wife, like I said, I love her. She thinks this is disgusting. She doesn't even want to come in my shop because she's like, it's dirty, it's dirty, it's dirty. So she's been brought up a certain way where clean is prioritized to mean something emotionally. It's to mean people look at you with status or class or, you know, social hierarchy, clean, and look at, well, rich people, they don't have dirty jobs, and rich people are clean, so if you are clean, it must mean that you're rich, and you want people to think you're rich. You know, it's crazy, but that's how the world works. It's a very petty, self-centered, unrealistic point of view. But I don't mind getting dirty. I brush my teeth, I take a shower, I you know, all that stuff. But to me, like all this dirt and grime, I don't know, it just doesn't bother me. I'll take a shower if we're going out to dinner and put on a clean set of clothes, absolutely. But I don't know, I get a little bit of flack from my wife for being dirty, you know. But it's I'm trying to expand upon, it's a percentage of the whole. It doesn't bother me because I am, the little bit of dirt that I accumulate in my clothes and on my skin, I'm taking 90% of that off of here. So the 10% that gets onto me, 90% gets swept up in the dustpan or gets washed away by the parts washer. So that's why this is a bit satisfying to clean a machine, even though it's kind of, it sucks and your back hurts from bending over and standing up, and you know, but to scrutinize every surface and clean the T-slots and clean the crevices and the gear teeth and the rack. My God, it's such a pain in the ass. But if it's easy, then you have nothing to be proud of, nothing to be satisfied. You can't say, this was hard and I did it anyways, right? When I clean these machines and I get them working again, I am proud of myself. I'm like, Doozer, hell yeah, right? You put in sweat equity and you accomplished a goal, and you have a very nice, usable, accurate machine to show for it. And that's what people today don't understand. The internet generation, they see it on the internet, whether it be rebuilding a machine or, you know, repairing body panels on a car, you know, repairing, you know, whatever. It's like a 2-minute to 10-minute affair on a YouTube, and they think that by watching it that they're an expert at it. Well, no, absolutely not. If I watch a video on YouTube, you know, I know it's the highlights, and it's going to tell me how to take apart, okay, how does the transmission come apart on my boring mill, right? I'm watching some videos in the Ukraine, gentleman, Max, he's got a boring mill, Giddings and Lewis, just like mine. He's taking the transmission apart and the gears, and he's fixing shafts and keyways and cleaning everything up. Boy, Max is doing a great job. So by watching Max's videos and seeing him take the transmission apart, and he's using the crane, and he's taking all the castings out and the shafts, the spline shafts, the bearings, replaced every bearing, and da-da-da. It helps me just for the physical, how does it come apart and how does it go back together aspect of it. But I know it's hard work because I've done this stuff. I've rebuilt automatic transmissions in cars and manuals, and I've had, you know, my lathes headstocks apart, and, you know, milling machine, everything, right? So I know how hard it is. But if somebody, people today, they watch stuff and then they think they're an expert. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Go out in your shop or your garage and take the transmission out of your car and take it all apart and get a manual if you want, if that's what you need, and rebuild it. Put new clutches in, new bearings, whatever it needs. Take a lathe apart. If you got, I'm going to put new bearings in the headstock of the Pratt & Whitney and I'm going to film it for you guys. Take something apart that's difficult. Pay attention in your memory, right, when you're taking it apart. Once I was rebuilding the transmission in my dad's Ford Cube van, C6, my cousin came over. We started drinking rum and cokes. No, we forgot a part, had to take it apart again. No, we had to pull the pan off and drain the fluid, and it sucked. So pay attention, don't be drunk, don't get high, pay attention, take your shit apart, remember how it comes apart, lay the parts out, label them if you have to, but just do it. Take on the challenge and your life will be fulfilled, right? You will be rewarded emotionally because you are the steward, you are the keeper, you are the father, you are the captain of this thing that you fixed, right? You are the captain of the ship, of the repair, of the machine. And when I use these machines, because I was intimately involved in taking them apart and fixing them, I feel a connection. I feel an emotional connection to a machine that I took the gearbox apart and I had to re-engineer it like on the Colchester lathe. Re-engineer the power feed and the stops and the bushings were all shot and I made new ones and the casting was screwed up and I fixed that and sleeved it and all the stuff that I did when I use that machine. Or I drive my truck that I rebuilt the transmission and I put a heavy duty clutch, whatever. That's in my mind. And if you do that, you will feel the same way. You will feel an attachment to your stuff. You will feel an emotional happiness when you drive your truck and the gears are no longer, the shifter's no longer sloppy and the clutch doesn't slip anymore. Or you use your lathe and you click that power feed in, man, and that thing's as solid as the Rock of Gibraltar, and and like on the Hendy, you crank the carriage and it is smooth as butter. You can make very, very nice, sensitive precision parts, and that's. I'm telling you guys this. I'm making this video to try and motivate people, especially in this, watch it on YouTube generation. Which great, watch Doozer Shop, like and subscribe. But take away. There is no substitute for doing stuff with your hands and your brain. And you're going to get dirty, and that's okay. No one died from being dirty. You did take a shower. By Gojo hand cleaner, D&L hand cleaner, by Lava soap, hand soap. Dude, I use Lava soap, the bar soap, Lava, in the shower. It's great. You just get your fingernail brush. I got a fingernail brush in the shower. Just get in there and do it. Don't be afraid of getting dirty. Growing up, I've always had my clean clothes and my dirty clothes. I mean, I don't know how you were brought up, but I got my going to school clothes, in church clothes, and then I had working on the car, working on the lawnmower, raking leaves, cutting trees clothes, right? And just do it. Get dirty. Fix stuff. Use your brain. Dude, and like, all these old machines, I bet you 80% of them don't have a manual. You don't need a manual. You just need experience taking stuff apart. And all these bearings and seals, you measure them and you look on the internet. You go on McMaster Car, you go on eBay if it's obsolete, bearings. You figure it out and you find it. You put it together and you make it research oils, research greases. That's what when you own a shop, that's what you do. You need, because all the old greases that or oils that are listed on the placards of the machines or in the manuals of the machines, they don't exist anymore. Shell Alvania 34. Like, what's Shell Alvania? That was an oil that existed. It's a brand name, right? Like, Kleenex tissue. It's a brand name that doesn't exist anymore. It's a model of a grease or an oil. Vactra, I mean, I guess that's still around, but they don't even say. There's different crossovers. There's iso viscosity, there's SAE viscosity, and then there's like medium heavy designations, light, Velicet oil, like, whatever. But there's a knowledge that you will acquire when you work on this stuff, because you're just going to see something you don't understand, look it up on the internet, find a video, find a cross-reference, find bearings, find common hardware, and repair this stuff. And you'll be smart enough eventually to make substitutions. You'll know that a bearing that says RS is rubber-sided and ZZ is metal-sided, shielded. You'll learn this stuff. And don't be afraid to try something and see if it works. As long as something's not going to seize up and tear up a shaft and do more damage, substitute something. See if it leaks, see if it works. But I guess I'm getting off topic. And I love talking about restoring machines because that's what I do. Most of these machines, well, there's no new machines in here really. I bought secondhand. Some I've paid less than $1,000. I think some I've paid $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. It's not too much. So I'm sacrificing my time for spending less money. If you have less time, like you're running a fast-paced, productive business, maybe you want to spend the money on a machine that's ready to go because you don't have the time. Your time is better spent bringing in money by making stuff. I've been fortunate. This kind of is a bit of a hobby for me. I do small paying jobs, but mostly it's a hobby. For 80, 90% it's a hobby. So I have the luxury of time. And it not only has saved me money, and it's not about the money, I have learned so much on my journey about engineering, right? I'm a better engineer because of the stuff that I work on. I learn about mechanism and machines and bearings, and that's a good mechanical engineer knows about this stuff and fits, and it's just a whole thing. So that's kind of why I do it here in the shop. But don't be afraid of getting dirty. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't be afraid of learning new skills. When I was in my 20s, I got like Home Shop Machinist magazine, and I kind of puttered around the machine shop at work, and the older guys showed me things. One guy showed me how to TIG weld. And my dad had a bridge business, construction business, so I could make and I could stick, but I was into mini bikes and go-karts, and still am kind of, and I wanted, you blow holes in a tubular frame if you're too heavy with the stick or the MIG. Of course, my dad had big MIG welders for doing structural steel. You couldn't turn them down and have them weld very well, but I learned TIG welding at work. I bought a TIG machine. I built a motorcycle frame. I think I spent $2,000 on that TIG machine in a bottle and everything. And it was worth it, absolutely, because now I can repair machines with my welding skills, and I can do, not professional welds, but 80, 90%, I mean, I'm not the steadiest person in the world, but that's human nature. You're either born with it or you're not. But my point is, I learned the skill of welding because it complements machining. I started off in electricity and electronics, and that helps me with three-phase motors and phase converters and all this wiring stuff and diagnosing relays and starters and capacitors. It all builds on itself. But you don't build any skills watching YouTube or being on a computer all the time. I would say, you know, the internet is great. I support this shop by being on the internet, you know, maybe 20% of the time on the internet and 80% of the time in the shop. Sometimes in the winter and I'm lazy, it might be, you know, more, you know, 40, 60, I don't know. But it's winter and, you know, I've created an infrastructure for myself. I built this shop and I insulated the shop and I got a mini split heater, hot, cold, what do you call it, heat pump. So it's comfortable to work in here, summer and winter. Climate control. So that's infrastructure. That's steps that I took because I knew I wanted a shop. And I knew I didn't want to have condensation on my machines rusting and you know, just freezing. You know, I don't want to build a wood fire and a wood stove and the mess and the dirt and the wood. And it's all about a goal of what do you want, right? And kind of let me tell you what influenced my shop is I would go to guys' shops growing up, right? And just take a drill press for an example. You can get a Harbor Freight drill press. You can get a drill press at Sears or, well, it's, you know, a little bit better. These are woodworking drill presses. They spin too fast, they don't have any torque. You use them for metal, they chatter and they're nutless and da-da-da-da-da-da. So, I've been to shops that have a real deal drill press. I'm like, wow, that's freaking sweet, right? What it started with drill presses and then like, you know, anything industrial that I had experience with the homeowner grade version and I knew that it sucked. I had Atlas. I had a 10-inch Atlas lathe. My dad bought it for me when I was 15 years old. Thank you, Father, for buying it and expanding my mind with this Atlas lathe. But it was from the war, and it had Babbitt bearings in the headstock, and they were worn, and you can only take 20 thousandths without chatter, because this is worn out. So then at work, when I got a job after college, they had a big Morisiki lathe and a big Akuma. But, you know, I could take 100 thou easy. And I'm like, whoa, this is a lot less time to whittle a shaft down, you know. So that kind of clued me in. Like, I don't want an Atlas lathe. I want a Morisiki or, you know, whatever. And they had a Harding lathe too, so that told me I could get a lathe the same size as an Atlas, but have the precision and the rigidity to take cuts and accuracy. So I crafted my shop after more industrial machines because that's so much more pleasurable experience to make parts on a industrial quality precision machine than an old worn out South Bend or Atlas or, you know, a woodworking drill press that just, you know. But the satisfaction I get from using a quality industrial lathe or machine or grinder or whatever, dude, it feels so good because I know what is out there and it sucks. And the fact that I've created the infrastructure to have a shop, to watch the auctions and the sales, and then, you know, it was the newspaper, and then it was Swap Shop and Craigslist, and now Facebook Marketplace, and then, you know, Auctions USA, and you know, the different gov deals, you know, whatever. And sometimes you got to take a day off of work and go to an auction and bid on something and sacrifice, you know, that, and you know. And then I've got a truck that can pull a trailer or haul a machine, and you know, I can haul 12,000 pounds or carry, I don't know, I think I can carry 5 or 6, but again, that's in the pursuit of industrial machines, to have an industrial shop. And my dad had a shop with his bridge built business. He did, I-beams and such and da 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 da. He had it was the Westinghouse building that was moved to a different site, and it had a 20-ton bridge crane. And we had 400 amp MIG welders. I mean, good. They'd spray all day. Iron workers, bandsaws, punches, just forklifts and just everything, cranes. This shop is not a high bay. I mean, it's not a huge industrial. Of course, my dad didn't have any heat either, and it was freezing in the wintertime, and it was hot in the summer. It was a big, giant warehouse, but I try to right-size stuff for what I'm trying to do and the fun I'm trying to have, and that's what it's about. It's the fun I'm trying to have with my hobby and my machines, and I do make a little bit of money, but I do have a day job, so maybe you find some parallels in your thinking the way I think, but it's about feeling satisfied and fulfilled, and about the capability to say, yeah, I can make a shaft like that. I can do it myself. I can rough out a thing on the milling machine, and I can do precision boring. I can do precision grinding. I can grind a shaft. I can grind a bore, and the thing will be within tenths. And I can do it because ultimately these parts are going to be to support my habit of go-karts and my habit of mini bikes. And I want to make some cool designs. And I got those international fire trucks and my international pickup, and I want to make a dump bed, and I want to make the hoist with the hydraulics and do a different transmission. I got a Detroit engine, a couple of those. I mean, all this is to support the fun stuff, right? Making parts growing up, I used to get Hot Rod magazine, and when you swap a Cadillac engine into a 32 Ford, or something like, put a big block Chevy in a Studebaker, or put a bulldozer engine into a dump truck. I mean, that to me is cool. You're creating something that the automotive manufacturers never came up with, right? And then I figured, I discovered tractor trailers have 10-speed transmissions, or 13 or 18 speeds, and I'm like, well, that helps you go up a hill, because I've tried to pull trailers up hills with a 3-speed automatic, and they suck. You're down at 15 miles an hour. So all the stuff that I see as problems to be solved to make life easier, like if you got a truck and you got a 13-speed transmission, holy shit, you can pull the universe pretty much, and you put a split rear end in there, and you pick a diesel engine that you like, because they're way better than gas engines for trucks, and if you don't know why, well, you gotta just experience it, drive some trucks, different trucks, and pull some loads. I pulled the planer, the Rockford planer, 660 miles. And I bought a brand new tip deck trailer just to do that journey. And I use that trailer all the time, so it was a great purchase. But make something fun and rewarding and fulfilling of your life by doing something. If all you do is be on the computer and have an office job, I mean, that may be fine for some people, but I am diving into the intricacies of life. I'm finding out all this cool stuff, and the more I do and the more challenges that I figure out, the more happy I become, because I'm a captain of mastering the process, mastering getting the fact that I gain the knowledge just with my truck and trailer, and what kind of suspension it takes, and what kind of engine and transmission I want, what kind of brakes that I can haul. So I know in my mind how much I can haul and how much I can rigging and lifting and moving and hoisting and forklifting and transporting and getting it the last 20 feet into your shop. That's why I have a concrete pad, a thick one, so I can do put stuff on rollers or use a pallet jack. I mean, it's all tied together and it all builds on itself. And if you set a goal in your life and then arrange everything in your life to pursue that goal, you're going to be happy. When I was a kid, I knew it was fun to ride mini bikes because it's like, man, bicycles, you know, then you graduate to a mini bike and then you can go in the woods and explore, and that's another thing with mini bikes and go-karts and dirt bikes. You know, where I used to live, I had a lot of land, but you end up going on the power lines and you go on other people's land and other people's fields and other people's property and you get yelled at or the cops chase you. I didn't want any of that. So when I bought this place, this is 5 acres and I got a field and I got woods and I got trails and I can do the mini bike thing and it's all my property. I'm not going to get yelled at or hassled by the owners or the police. I've set myself up for the mini bike, go-kart, dirt bike hobby, the shop to support building custom dirt bikes and mini bikes because it takes me back to when I was a kid and it makes me happy, it makes me smile. And then the big boy toys are my international fire trucks and my pickup truck and, you know, all that stuff. So everything that I've crafted makes me happy, makes me, you know, it makes me happy. That's it. You could say fulfilled, you could say the captain of your stuff, of what you're doing, but it makes me happy. There's so many things I've crafted in my life to make me happy. And hopefully my little spiel about this inspires you guys to get involved in doing something. Get into a maker space. Get satisfaction, and I mean 3D printing I guess is cool, but 3D printing is cool. But if you got a milling machine, holy crap, man, you can make stuff out of steel and aluminum. That's durable and not plastic and not knocking the plastic. Great to suss out a design with a 3D printer, absolutely. But it's not durable. You're not going to make a centrifugal clutch or a sprocket for something out of plastic. You can't. So but get involved in some level. Make art. Weld stuff together and make art. Make some ugly lawn sculptures. At least you're got something to show for what you're doing, what you're welding, you're grinding, figuring it out. If it sucks, cut it apart, right? Get a welder, get a grinder, get a bandsaw, and make ugly yard art and just try to sell it. I mean, you know, people buy stuff. You know, do something and you will be happy, because that is the key to life, is get a skill, use it, be responsible for your continued learning and skill development and propagating what you know to make things better, and you're going to be fulfilled. And fulfillment is happiness. And I didn't mean this to be a motivational speech, but I see so many people just not doing anything. And, you know, the Creator gives you so many years on this earth, right? And you almost, in my opinion, you owe it to yourself and to the person, the Creator that put you here, to do something. Do something, I mean, yes, do something, period, but I wanted to say miraculous, but it doesn't have to be a miracle, it's things that you do. Do something that makes you happy and makes other people's happy. And if you can make stuff and sell stuff and get money and support your life, because everyone needs food and shelter, a house, apartment, or whatever, we got to provide for ourselves. I mean, yeah, you could be an off-grid homesteader. That's not a bad option either. And you go to find satisfaction in providing for the household and providing the meat and the firewood and keeping up the property. I mean, people find satisfaction in a lot of stuff, but it's physical things, right? Keeping up your lawn, keeping up your bushes, keeping up your house, painting your house, cleaning your gutters, all that you can take pride in. You don't have to get machines and do what I did, but Do something and you will find it rewarding. Absolutely. That is absolutely a fact of life. Do something in human existence. Do something challenging. Let's not say difficult, let's say challenging, and you will be happy because you are going to accomplish it. And start small so you don't burn out and da. And you're going to be happy. You're here only a short time in the grand scheme of things. So get out, get dirty. I feel like the micro dirty jobs, get dirty, but he's right. Be dirty, don't worry about it. You can take a shower and clean set of clothes. All right, this is going on. This is Christmas Day. Merry Christmas. Get out in your shop and do something. Like I'm doing something, cleaning stuff.